Oh, Amazon. Amazon, zone, zone. You are overvalued. Welcome back to Strongman Personal Finance. I am Christopher Bell, certified public accountant, long-term boglehead investor, author of the book Stop Being a Broke Loser. It's on Amazon. We're talking about Amazon for $3 or $10 for a hard copy. Now, in my humble opinion, ladies and gentlemen, I think that Amazon stock is massively overvalued. And why do I think that? Mainly because there are insane growth projections built into the price of the stock, number one. And number two, people right now are willing to pay a high multiple of earnings or free cash flow, or whatever you want to look at, to buy Amazon's future earnings. Now, in my humble opinion, I think as Amazon gets bigger and bigger and bigger, their growth rates, revenue, free cash flow, whatever you want to look at, are going to slow down more and more and more. So right here, I have Amazon's financial data for the last 9 years. And what I did was, in this little yellow bar here, I calculated the compounded growth rate of Amazon's free cash flow. So for 1 year, their free cash flow grew almost 20%. Over 3 years, it grew at 58% compounded. 5 years, 28%. And the max that I could look up, 32%. Now, let's go and do a simple discounted cash flow analysis. And I'm going to tell you my assumptions and why I think Amazon's overvalued. So number one, in this scenario, I'm assuming that I'm buying Amazon on July 31st, 2021. And I'm going to hold it for 5 years, and then I'm going to sell it. Now, there's a couple assumptions that you have to use to figure out, what Amazon's free cash flow is going to be, because that really tells you how much you're going to get. So I have these assumptions down here where I assume free cash flow growth. In this case, I'm assuming 30%, which is pretty reasonable. I mean, if you go back and look, 20% in the last year, 58%, that seems like an aberration over the last 3 years. 28% over 5 years, and 32%. And 30% might even be too high because the company's so freaking huge that I just don't see it growing that quickly, 5, 6, 7 years out into the future. Now, my assumption for price to free cash flow at disposition, which is used to calculate the terminal value of the company, is 20. Now, a lot of you may disagree because Amazon's price to free cash flow right now is like 60 or 70, which is pretty freaking crazy. But on average, I think a good metric to use, especially for a very mature company, is about 20. Now, we can play around with this formula because I actually built into this, modification. So if you want to change stuff around, and we can do that a little bit, you can kind of see what assumptions would make Amazon fairly valued. So let's go ahead and look at the 5 years of free cash flow. So I have us buying the stock, July 31st, 2021, and then we hold the stock for 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025, and then on July 31st, 2026, we go ahead and sell the stock. So I calculated the free cash flow growth, the free cash flow projections, using this formula. So if you change this 30%, let's say you drop it to 20%, look how that changes everything. But let's use 30%. So I use 30%. So every year, roughly, free cash flow from Amazon, being nice, is going to grow by 30%. And I made adjustments here on the D column because if I buy Amazon on July 31st, I'm not getting this full year of free cash flow. I'm only getting basically 5/12ths of the free cash flow, which is 0.42. So in reality, I would get $14 billion of free cash flow. And on top of that, we have to apply a discount rate because you have to choose a discount rate that'll tell you what your required rate of return is. And that's how you discount the future cash flows. Now, in my humble opinion, if you're even going to think about buying an individual stock, you want to crush the market. So I use 15% for my discount rate because if I can get 10% on a stock, I might as well just buy the whole freaking market and not take that extra risk of buying an individual stock. You can disagree. You can use a different discount rate. We can use 10%. I mean, whatever works for you, but I like 15 because I'm not buying an individual stock unless it's just an absolute banger and it's going to blow it out of the park. Now, I calculated the discounted cash flows using these assumptions for every year for Amazon. So In the first year, actual cash flow is $14 billion. We get 13.241. 35 billion, 40 billion, 45, 51, 36 billion. And then for the terminal value, I use a delicious formula to kind of estimate what the price of free cash flow would be and what metric or what fundamental number they would use for free cash flow. And I got approximately $1.12 trillion discounted for terminal value. Now, if you add all those up, all those numbers, because a stock's value is based on the expected future cash flows discounted at your required rate of return, I get a price of $1.3 trillion. Now, what is Amazon's market cap right now? It's $1.8 trillion. So if the fair value of the stock, according to my assumptions, is 1.3, and it's currently trading at $1.8 trillion market cap, the stock's freaking overvalued. Now, what would I pay for the stock using these assumptions? I would pay $2,666. But if you want to have a margin of safety, maybe you want to pay even less than that. So, would I buy Amazon stock right now? Absolutely not. It's trading at $3,560 per share. When in my assumptions, based on my calculations, I think the fair value is $2,666. But I mean, the revenue or the free cash flow, I don't know if it's really going to grow at 30%. I mean, it's a maturing company. So if we drop that down, to let's say 25%, boom, I get 2,163. Okay, that's not a good deal. If you buy Amazon right now, in my humble opinion, you're overpaying for this company by a massive amount. So you don't have to listen to me. You can use different assumptions, but in my humble opinion, this is not a good stock to buy. Now, you can leave a comment because you might disagree with my assumptions or how I'm using free cash flow. That's fine, but I would love to hear your input. I don't think it's a buy right now, but I'm always open to suggestions. Anyway, that's it. You guys have a wonderful day. Don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe to my channel, and tell your friends about me. I'll talk to you later.